Okay, I can cut straight to the chase on this one. Looper is a terrific movie. Yeah, well, Looper is of course the new sci-fi movie that's out in the theaters right now. It was directed by Rian Johnson and stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis, and it's futuristic time travel action movie, and it's just really great on every single level. It's really good. Now, Rian Johnson, he wrote and directed this thing, as I mentioned, and he's worked with Joseph Gordon-Levitt before in his first movie, which is called Brick. Now, Brick was a sort of a film noir story set in a modern day California high school, which is a very good movie. I found that movie to be really interesting, fascinating. It was very entertaining, but kind of shallow on the whole depth level. It was basically the gimmick of the film noir set in high school and not much else. But still, if you if you like that sort, if you like film noir, if you're really interested in movies of that sort, you'd probably really like Brick. I mean, I liked Brick, but I was really interested in seeing Looper because I wanted to see what Rian Johnson could do with the full budget studio backed movie. And not only is this a really good movie on that level, on that it's an entertainment blockbuster level, but it's also an excellent movie because it's still very much Rian Johnson's thing. He hasn't let his vision, his ideas seem to be compromised by the fact that he's working within the studios and having full backing on this. It's a very much a director-driven project, an artist-driven project, and that makes it very satisfying to watch. Uh, Now, the story of the movie is set kind of in two different futures. The main story is set in the future of I think 2044, where the Joseph Gordon-Levitt character, his name is Joe. He plays what they call loopers. Loopers are basically hitmen who are sent targets from the future who they kill because and dispose of the bodies in the past, so the bodies can never be found in the future. And the reason these guys are called loopers is because eventually they're going to have to end up killing themselves. The version of themselves from 30 years in the future is going to be sent back them. Then they'll kill their future self and then go on with their life after, because once they've closed the loop, so to speak, they don't have much more reason to be a hitman in the past. And we can see what the stakes are because early in the movie, one character fails to close his loop. He fails to kill his future self, and we will see both how the criminals of the past treat this and how they track down the character from the future. It's a very unique, very creative, and utterly horrifying thing they do to track these guys down in the future. And it also shows how this movie handles the transitions between the future and the past. Now, any movie that features time travel is going to have some sort of kinks in terms of predetermination and how the past affects the future, how different futures might affect the past, stuff like that. The way this movie handles it is pretty pragmatic. It kind of reminds me of Minority Report, which is another really good sci-fi movie that you should probably check out if you're into this sort of thing. The in the fact that it believes in while the past does have immediate effects on the future. In some ways, in other ways, the future is not automatically determined by what comes before. There are different things that could happen that could change the future, and that theme is really something that is running throughout the entire theme of Looper, and how these events could prevent or maybe cause the future that these people have come from. So anyway, back to the main plot. Uh, the character played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt is this futuristic hitman. He's really kind of living it up. His days are spent going out into the fields and killing people sent to the past and then disposing of the corpses, and his nights are spent clubbing it up, getting high on some futuristic eye drop drug and having sex with various women, or one particular woman who seems to work as a stripper and part-time prostitute at the night club, because he really seems to be based around sort of this existential hitman, existential criminal sort of character that is really ingrained in classic film noir sort of thing. Kind of like Brick, this movie does have really kind of a film noir feel to it with some of the tense dialogue, the characterization by Joseph Gordon-Levitt is really. It's as much of a young Bruce Willis as it is a classic film noir sort of character. I'm reminded of character played by Alain Delon in the French movie The Samurai, or maybe the George Clooney character from The American. He really has a kind of like existential criminal sort of thing. And like those characters, you sense the fact that he's really not happy with his life and wants to find a way out, but has to. But it's still just devoted to his mission as this killer that he really wants to go through with. And that becomes a problem once he sees that, once he realizes that he needs to kill his future self. Once he sees that his future self, who's played by Bruce Willis, and he fails to kill him, then he's going to go chase down the Bruce Willis and then try to kill him so he won't be killed by his future employers. But by the way, the crime lord in this movie is played by Jeff Daniels. This is very much against typecasting, and he's very good as this guy. It's really just much more proof that very likable and nice actors can sometimes make the scariest bad guys. And that sort of works for the Bruce Willis character too. I mean, Bruce Willis, one of the really interesting things about this character, once Bruce Willis comes back and once he's actually able to interact with the Joseph Gordon-Levitt character face to face, we realize he has motives of his own for going into the past. I mean, he wasn't just your average. He wasn't just your average guy sent from the future to the past just to close the loop. He has his own motives, and he knows what he wants to do. And even though Joseph Gordon-Levitt wants to kill him to prevent himself from being killed by the criminals, he listens, and he can kind of understand what the Bruce Willis character wants to do, and he tries to think of ways that he can do to prevent that from having even being necessary through his own actions in the past. I mean, there's kind of like mental byplay between the two of them. This really comes to a peak in a scene near the middle of the movie where they basically sit down and talk at a diner. That sort of mental byplay really makes this movie really fascinating to watch. You're thinking of these possibilities just as well as they are. This is not a movie this is a movie that thinks on the same level as the audience does, and ahead of the audience too. This is a very smart movie in between the action and with the action too. The action here is just incredible because that Rian Johnson really knows how to choreograph things. He doesn't just go straight for the gunplay and shootouts and stuff. Although there are plenty of gunfights and shootouts in this movie, he's able to choreograph it with characters, hiding, ducking, moving from side to side. The way the camera moves, the way he edits it. This is just some of the most entertaining, suspenseful gunplay I've seen in a movie in a long time. He really proves that he really knows what to do with action. I can't wait to see what he does with this next movie. This guy is going to be. I can tell you one thing. I'm sure studios are going to be begging this guy to direct their action movies from now on. But still, the way eventually through various plot complications. I don't want to offer any major spoilers or anything with this because this is just such a great plot to follow. Just how everything just kind of falls into place by the end. But still, without offering major spoilers, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt character eventually finds himself on this farm in the country and living there, trying to defend this woman played by Emily Blunt, who's very good here, and her young son, who's also played by a young child actor whose name I don't know. I'll try to edit annotation with his name in there after I'm done with this. And he's just a fantastic child performer, fantastic child actor. He's terrific here, and for reasons that I won't reveal to you, Joseph Gordon-Levitt has to stand with these people and defend them from the Bruce Willis character, because that's another really different thing about this one. Bruce Willis actually ends up is more or less playing the bad guy here rather than the good guy. Well, he's not an entirely bad guy because of these motives that he has, which is just another thing that I find really cool about this movie. How when you first meet these two, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt character seems like he's going to be the cold, straightforward, evil or villainous sort of guy, and the Bruce Willis character seems to be the more sympathetic, more emotional guy who you want to root for. And as the movie goes on, they kind of and these characters go about the actions that lead to this final confrontation. Our sympathies kind of swap between the two of them without either character becoming entirely sympathetic or entirely unsympathetic. They kind of switch spots, and the fact that they're both playing the same character makes it all the more fascinating. But this is one heck of a screenplay, a terrifically directed movie. I recommend it. I don't want to talk any more about it because if I do, I'll probably get into spoilers. But yeah, you've got to see this movie. It's just fantastic all the way through. One of the best sci-fi movies I've seen in quite a while, and I've seen quite a few really good sci-fi movies in the last couple of years. Yeah, go see Looper. You'll enjoy it very much.